Good morning, everyone. This is the Shadow Clan. I am Shadow Raven, and Shadow Fang's with me here today, and along with Totodile, who's making a guest appearance. Today, we are going to be going over an idea that we have been discussing for the past several months, as a matter of fact. We have often, both of us love Pokemon, and we have off and on been discussing what we think would be a really cool Pokemon game. Now, we've gone through and we've actually written some notes on this because I have a tendency to forget, and so does he. But this is okay. This is how we are. We're ADHD. We apologize for that. No, not really. We don't. We truly don't. It's fun. So, we came up with these ideas. We've had, there's a couple things where we kind of disagreed, so we wrote down both sides of it. And I think what we're going to do with these is we'll let you guys in the comments decide which idea you like a little bit better on some of the things we disagreed on. Because we can't make up our minds. We can't agree on these ones for some strange reason.
Mine is better, that's why.
Well, that's what he thinks. I personally like my idea better, but hey. Okay, now what this is we're going to just automatically assume that we're talking about, say, Generation 7. Maybe it's a little too early for that, so maybe say Generation 8. But starting off, for the classic Choose Your Starter, instead of having only the Fire, Water, and Grass starters, we were thinking, why not have 18 choices? You get one of each type. You get to choose out of one of each type of all 18 different types. Personally, I think this would be really cool. I think it would actually make the game either easier or a lot harder depending on which type you choose. And I also think that having 18 choices instead of 3 especially, it gives you a lot more variety, and it opens up several different lines of play.
And you can start building your team probably easier based on what type of Pokemon you choose.
Or it could be a lot harder, and you might have ended up screwing yourself depending on what type you picked.
Oh, you can pick a favorite type. Let's say one of your favorite types isn't the original 3. You could start off with your favorite type.
Yeah, and I think that'd be awesome because I know the number of times we've gone through and played a game. Sometimes we'll already have a set team already set up. We'll get our starter. We'll catch 5 more Pokemon, and we'll just trade them out. And our original Pokemon will just go over to the other game and end up getting deleted. So this way, we wouldn't have to constantly be doing that. That would actually be really kind of nice to start off with a Pokemon type that we really enjoy. And it also allows for a lot more variety of teams because once you choose your Pokemon, and once your rival chooses theirs, the rest of them are set free and you can now catch them.
And they had to agree on that.
I don't know. I just like the idea of it because that way you can technically catch all of the starters.
Yeah, but Professor's not gonna let.
Yeah, well, hey, this is all theory. I mean, this is just an idea. And personally, I like that particular concept. If you can catch more than one starter, or at least have the option to catch the opposite of your starter.
Yeah.
Like if you start off with a Psychic, you can potentially catch the Dark type. At least, I don't know. I thought it was a cool idea. But the next one is, and this is the big one, choose your side. Not only do you get the 18 choices of Pokemon, you get to choose. Are you going to be the hero like you are in all of the games, just as standard? Or are you one of those people that is going to become the villain? Do you want to dominate the entire region, or do you want to save it? This is actually where probably our biggest disagreement was. I personally think that you should select your gender, go through the first part of the game, select your starter, and then as soon as you and your rival walk outside, you run into a grunt. Whatever team it is, whatever team it just so happens to be, you run into this grunt, and the first thing that he says is, "You're a new trainer. You look like you have a lot of potential. Would you like to join our team?" And instead of on the Nugget Bridge, where you're asked if you want to join the team and it automatically answers no for you, this time you have the option to say yes or no. If you say yes, you are automatically changed into a grunt outfit and teleported to the grunt base, to the team base, the local base that's in the area. And if you say no, then you have to battle the grunt. But the thing is, whatever side you pick, your rival picks the opposite. So if you become the hero, your rival becomes the villain. If you become the villain, your rival becomes the hero. That's what I thought would be a really cool idea. He likes this idea better.
I think you should, when you choose your gender, that's when you choose whether you're going to be good or evil. then your rival also is going to be good or evil. I think you should take the rival dynamic to a new level. Instead of just having your rival battle you partly through the game, and then once you become the champion, it just kind of stops or whatever. I think, like, let's say you decide to be a villain, that you and your rival will compete as you work your way up through the ranks of that villain group. And then, like let's say you become the CEO and your rival doesn't, well, he has the opportunity to
take you out
and overthrow you and whatever. And same thing, if you're good, then he has the chance to come in and challenge you for the championship. So that's how we think that's different.
Yeah. So, people in the comments, which idea do you like better, or do you have an idea that you think is even better than both of ours? Post in the comments. Let us know. Okay, now we're going to start off with the hero side, because this one was a little bit easier. There's a little bit less content to it. And one thing that we think is really important is that over all of the course of the games, all of the gyms have been type-based. Now, this is a good idea in some aspects, and it's a horrible idea in others.
It's too predictable.
It is. It really is.
It's boring. It's getting really monotonous.
Yeah. So one of our first ideas for the hero side is that your gyms are not type-based.
They are mixed-based teams.
They're mixed teams. So in other words, you really have no idea what you're going into. It's like you're going to be facing off against this whole different types of Pokemon. I did come up with an idea that and I did actually have this on another separate sheet of paper, which, as a matter of fact, I have right over here. And now I'm going to need to look at it, because I can't remember what the heck I had written down. Excuse me. But the thing that I had written down was I actually had a list of types for each gym, at least in the starting region, and I had a list of types, but the type is only the gym leader's strongest Pokemon. It is not the type that the gym is based on. It's just the gym leader's strongest Pokemon. And I actually had them I actually went through and made a list of all of the different types of gyms in all 6 regions, because I wanted to use the gyms that are not as common. And it was actually kind of surprising to find out which ones had more Pokemon used than others. But for the first gym, I had Ground was their strongest, then Normal, then Steel, Poison, Ghost, Fairy, Dragon, and then finally Dark. As I said before, these are just their strongest Pokemon. This is not the type that the entire gym is based on. It is just the gym leader's strongest. And then, of course, for the size of the teams, I think for the most part, the gyms are actually pretty decent on the number of Pokemon that the gym leader has.
Well, we're trying to mix things up here. We want to make it a little bit more challenging
or a little bit more progressive, I guess. So we started off with gyms 1, 2, and 3 having 3 Pokemon, gyms 4 and 5 having 4, gym 6 having 5, and then gyms 7 and 8 having a full team of 6. Another couple things that I thought was kind of cool is that, like in the X and Y, one of my favorite features of X and Y was that you were able to customize your look. I think that maybe that if they applied that particular feature to this new game, I think that would be a lot of fun. I mean, you can customize your look. I do think that I'd probably change some of the options up a little bit, like some of the stuff on the shelves. You could actually get some of those things, not just the things on the mannequins, because there were some of the outfits in Lavier City that I really wanted to get, but they were on the shelf and you couldn't buy them, which really kind of sucked. And then obviously the classics with the hero. You don't have any type limits. You can receive Pokemon as gifts. You can obviously use your Pokemon Centers and the Pokemon Marts if they're different buildings or if they're going to stick with the same. Personally, I like them in the same building. I think it's easier. And you really don't have a wild Pokemon catch limit.
Another thing I think we should do for the hero side, and this is something that most of the Pokemon games don't do, I think they need to give you more TMs to be able to buy from.
Yeah.
When you go to the store to buy TMs and moves for your Pokemon, I think they need to give you a little bit of a wider selection instead of 6? I think it's the highest I've ever seen.
5 or 6, depending.
I think they need to at least give you double digits.
Yeah. Now, and then the whole thing with this is that after you defeat the champion, after you become the champion, you have to defend your title once a week. Mm-hmm. If you're on the hero side, you have to defend your title once a week. You will get a device. You will get a phone-like device, kind of like the Pokénave or the Pokégear in some of the older versions. I don't think it wouldn't be the exact same. It would actually be a whole new device. Who knows? I mean, maybe maybe they'll make it like a cell phone. I think that'd be kind of cool. I mean, it would definitely be modernized for sure. I mean, pretty much everybody has a cell phone nowadays. So you'd get basically like a cell phone or some sort of device that you could get calls on and such. And once you become the champion, you register whoever the previous champion's name. You register whoever was the previous champion, and once a week, they will call you, and you will have to go back to you have to go back to that particular league, and you will have to face a challenger, and you will have to retain your title. Now, another thing we came up with is that movement from region to region. I remember in Gen 2, once you finished up with Johto, you could go back to Kanto, but you started off with your same team. The gyms were stronger, but you still had to go through the whole region, and you had to go back through the Pokemon League and such.
We're trying to make the game longer because the first time we played X and Y, we beat it in 12 hours.
Total between the two of us.
We beat the entire game in 12 hours.
Yeah, I mean, we both of us had gotten to the 4th gym in like 3 hours, I think 3.5 hours. Take. We love Pokemon. The playability is really nice. The repeat playability is great. This would be able to give you thousands of hours in your first gameplay.
Once you conquer one region,
you can move on to the next.
You get a call from a professor from one of the other regions. You get an invitation to try that region. So you don't meet that professor.
And you basically start all over.
You get a brand new starter, and it has to be a different element than the one you already chose. I think that would be a good. Well, it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be, but you still have the 18 choices.
Yeah,
though.
you still have all 18 choices. So you start fresh and reconquer that region.
But you don't lose your current team.
No,
you just cannot use them. You can use that.
Store them in a box.
You can use that team in. Basically, whatever team you have in a region, you can use it in that region, but only in that region. That was one of the I guess you could say one of the rules that we came up with on that one. But you start over. You don't lose any of your Pokemon. They're just boxed until you go back to that region. And obviously, you have to use that particular team when you go back and take on your challenger every week. Let me see, and I think that is all we had for the hero side, was it not? Yep, it was. Okay, moving on to my favorite part of this, the villain side. Now, this one, once again, after you choose to become the villain, you already have your starter Pokemon. In this one, you have to complete missions to advance your rank, and also to advance the game.
And steal Pokemon.
Yes, well, I'll get to that. But each level, there's three different levels you can achieve. There's Grunt, which is what you start off as, the Executives, and then the Admins. Each area has 3 different ranks that you have to achieve. You start off as Grunt 3, then you move to 2, then 1, Executive 3, 2, 1, and then Admin 3, 2, 1. You have to complete a final test and/or a final mission to take over leadership of the team that you are a part of.
And you have to dethrone the CEO.
And you have to dethrone the current leader. I figure that's probably why that final test is probably just going to be a full-on 6-on-6 battle with the leader. Whoever wins retains or obtains the leadership. You can dominate all of the regions. You can, once again, just like with the hero, you can go back to any other region. However, with this one, you don't keep your rank. You keep your rank in the region that you keep the rank that.
Basically, it's the same as the hero. You go to another region, you go undercover as a grunt, and you work your way up again.
And then once you take over that one, it's like, oh, by the way, I am also the leader of such whatever team they happen to create by that, whatever team they come up with at that time. Obviously, your team is going to change. You will also be able to choose a different starter, so you can choose one from a different type. From your original one, I would actually probably recommend it because it would make the story more interesting. Obviously, you won't be able to customize your look because, you're a villain. I mean, your outfit is going to be determined by the rank that you're at. Now, we thought this one was an interesting rule. You can only catch 5 wild Pokemon per region. I think it should be per region because you're starting over, essentially. After that, and it doesn't have to be the first 5 Pokemon you encounter.
No,
but it does have. You are limited.
Capture 5 Pokemon
per region.
That's it.
Everything else has to be stolen. Now, the way that we figured that this was going to work is you can only steal one Pokemon from each trainer. However, you are not limited in the number of trainers per area you can battle. You can battle them all and take one Pokemon from each and every single one of them.
That's part of your ranking system. The more Pokemon you steal, the more the admins are going to look at you and give you promotion.
Yeah, basically, the higher your reputation within the team is going to become, the higher reputation you have, the easier it will be to advance because the admins and the leader will trust you with more advanced missions. Basically, what you will do is you will battle the trainers, so that way you can see their whole roster, you'll be able to see what their movesets are and such. And then after you defeat them, you take one of their Pokemon, whichever one you think is the best option, or whichever one you
put it on your team or send it to the box, whichever.
Yeah, I mean you can either send it to you can either send it back to the base for storage, or you can keep it on your team. Just depends on what you would rather. Obviously, you can't walk into a Pokemon Center or a Pokemon Mart and just heal up and buy stuff. You will actually be healing in a local base. Just like the Pokemon Center and the Pokemon Mart, how they have their distinguishing roof colors, your base will have a distinguishing roof color as well. Mm-hmm. Other people might, if you talk to the people around town, they might comment, it's like, oh, that one has that building has a really weird colored roof. And yeah, that's because it's your base, but they don't need to know that because, they're just locals. You can obviously purchase any items you need at these locations and such. You can talk to other grunts and maybe get some other interesting information if you can, if they have any.
Sign up for new missions.
Yeah, you can, sign up for new missions and such. I think maybe being given an option of like 2 or 3 different missions per rank. That way you can figure it's like, okay, so, and you have the option to do all of these missions. You don't necessarily have to, but the more missions you do, the more Pokemon you collect, the higher your reputation, and the easier it will be to get to that next rank and get bigger missions, more important missions, and actually get some. Well, I'm not, but either way, I think that'd be kind of cool. And then, of course, you're going to have your type limits because most of the teams have a set group of types. I'm basing this off of the list of types that are allowed in the classic Rocket Lock. You got your Poison, Ground, Dark, Bug, Fighting, Psychic, and a pure Normal. Once you actually choose the villain side, the game itself will adapt your wild encounters to match your restrictions. That way, you don't have to worry about that.
Well, not really. You just.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about it anyway, but still.
If you catch a Pokemon that you can't have in your team, it just goes in the box.
Well, yeah.
The game doesn't have to adjust. You just have to find the Pokemon that.
You just have to remember your type limitations, I guess would be. But I prefer the idea of the game remembering it for you. That way, you don't have to worry about not catching the wrong type and not being able to catch it.
No, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is write it down, and if you catch it, if you can't have it in your party, you send it to the box.
Yeah, maybe.
That's simple.
No, I guess so, but personally, I like my idea better. It's easier. Once again, post in the comments if you which idea you think if the game should adapt to your play restriction, or if not, or if you should just have to remember it yourself. But that overall is our idea for what we think would be a really cool kind of choose your side Pokemon game. Nintendo, Game Freak. Hint, hint, I think a lot of people would actually really like this. I have actually seen and heard many people talking that they would love to play as the villain. There are several ROM hacks out there of the villain side the villain style of playing.
And different starters, that's a huge
different starters, yes.
People want different starters.
Yeah, I mean, I know the classics are, they're the classics, so, they're, it just kind of makes sense. But at the same time, I think it's about time for some things to change. And I know this whole idea is it would be a huge undertaking. I understand this. I even could understand doing this with just one game and just having it set for one region and then maybe patch the other regions in later on, because this would be a massive undertaking. I mean, I'm figuring even a full team of developers, this would probably take 7 to 12 years, and I actually have no clue. I'm guesstimating between 7 and 12 years to make a game of this caliber. Especially for handheld consoles, that might actually be completely impossible. But I think
at least bring in the more starter options and the option to be good or evil. I think would be
even just that would be enough.
Stick with one region, I think that would be fun.
Yeah, but just the fact of being able to choose more than just 3 types of starters and being able to choose whether or not you're going to be good or evil, that's really the kind of the basis of this whole idea. Everything else we came up with was just our opinion, what we think would make a really cool game. I'm sure there are other people that probably have different, and some might have different ideas, and some of their ideas are probably better than ours. But if you like this video, then leave a comment, subscribe for more content, and we shall see you again. Happy hunting!